Welcome back to Table Flippin' Board Games. We just played Last Night on Earth, and this week we are joined by Maggie, who's filling in for Gillyweed while she's out of town at BlizzCon. Of course, I'm Ogre Yonder, one of your hosts, and Gameface Killa, the eternal co-host. Uh, so, what did you guys think of this game?
It's very interesting. This was the first Flying Frog game I played,
Hmm.
so I definitely kind of have some nostalgia for that, and it's got such a unique style of art and play style, mechanic style, and everything that they used for other games, but this was the original of them all, so it was kind of has like a special place in my heart for that. So
Yeah,
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
just I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that the I like the variety, I guess, of the character um, skills and abilities, and that gave enough of a kind of switch up
Hmm.
along with the cards. So
Since you mentioned the characters, let's zoom in on them a little bit here. And maybe we can start off by talking about kind of the theme of this game. Game Face, you want to give us a really quick overview of it again?
yeah, so in this game, you're either playing, there's two sides, which is kind of interesting because in a lot of horror games that we've played, they've been completely cooperative. But here
Hmm.
you actually have two sides. One person, or maybe two people, depending on how many you're playing with, play the side of the zombies, and you're moving zombies around. But the main focus of your game is definitely the zombie cards. So you can place some on your turn before you move anything or do anything. There's some really powerful remain in play cards that are bonuses that you get for like a long time. Then there's some really cool cards that are kind of gotcha cards you can play on the heroes during their turn. So there's lots of really cool things that happen that are very kind of movie style conflicts or tropes, I guess, in horror
Hmm.
movies, like the locked door is a great one. You know,
The
somebody's trying to get into the
repeatedly
door and
locked
it's
door.
locked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's such great movie ideas that they translated into the game, and they are surprising, just like they are in movies a lot of times.
Hmm.
So they capture the feel of that. The other side are the heroes, and you kind of play these iconic archetype heroes from horror movies, like the school jock, the sweetheart, the nurse, the sheriff of town. So there's lots of great characters to choose from too. And then basically, depending on the scenario you pick, the one we picked was the heroes had to kill 15 before the end of the before the sun went down, which you guys had plenty of time still. You had six more turns. And then the other scenarios do things like, I guess I can show you a couple of examples. You have to destroy spawning pits in the buildings. There's a way that you can actually do that.
Hmm.
You have to use explosives. So the gasoline and dynamite become really important to be able to save those up. You can. This is kind of one that's kind of fun. Is there's a truck in the middle of the board,
Hmm.
and you have to go around to the buildings and find gasoline and keys, and then that's what you need to escape.
mm,
So those item cards are kind of important. And then there's scenarios where you have to save people in town, and then there's a cool kind of tower defense where there's a if you flip this center board over, there's a mansion in the middle,
Oh, cool.
and it suddenly becomes a can you defend the mansion from the zombies kind of hoarding in, and that's a pretty fun scenario too. To try to hold off the zombies' attacks, so sort of the last stand kind of thing. So there's
are they
lots of
able
different
to still
scenarios.
are they able to still walk through walls on that one?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh,
It's pretty crazy, yeah. And what's funny is you actually can't search in the mansion. You have to go to the outlying buildings to be able to search for cards. So
Oh,
you really have to
weird.
watch.
So you have to
Yeah,
prevent it from being overrun, but also kind of like make these little trips out to
yeah,
go
yeah,
get stuff. Well, that's cool. That's
yeah,
very, very thematic
yeah, yeah.
for sure.
So and then so basically you play until one side or the other wins the scenario, and the turns go by pretty quickly. We played this game really fast. It was like about an hour and a
Yeah,
half.
I think this was probably one of our fastest.
Yeah,
And
for
we weren't
sure.
even speeding through it or anything. It's just each turn was something that I really appreciated from the very beginning, actually. And I made a note here to talk about it. Was that the turns are very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You, it's very very straightforward what you can do, but at the same time, they don't feel insignificant or limiting,
Right.
which is a tough balance to make. So I really appreciate how this game is designed and how they did that. Because sometimes if your turns are too simple, it feels like you just can't do anything at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it's due to the zombies only taking one hit to kill,
Right.
or how far you can move. Because I could move practically halfway across the map in one turn with a good roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, some I don't know what combination of things it was, but yeah, it was definitely cool.
Yeah, what did you guys think about the fact I noticed this in this game, and this scenario happens a little bit. If you find a good place to hole up in, you kind of put the zombie player in an interesting position because
Hmm.
I have to attack you. The only way I can win is either let the clock run out, which is tough to do with zombies. I'm basically just moving them over to the far corners and hoping that sooner or later the heroes won't just pile up a huge stockpile of weapons and come chase after me.
Hmm.
Or I can do what I did, which is push them into a corner and then I try to swarm them before they can build up. What do you
Right.
guys think about not being able to use really the whole board? You're just
I
kind of in one part of it.
I think that the it would have been interesting to see what happens in the strategy where you just try and run away from us, which
Yeah,
is like totally non-zombie like.
yeah.
But yeah, because that's all we did. Like we you did a good job in the beginning of making at least this location somewhat useless, like
Hmm.
25% useless because Becky couldn't do anything there.
Oh, right, right.
But at the same time, with all the zombies coming to us, one turn I killed three of them
Yeah,
with a shotgun blast. I think another turn we killed two or three of them with just some lucky doubles rolls. And because they were all kind of coming to us, the zombies kind of helped us achieve our objective. But I didn't really at that point I didn't appreciate that. Like I didn't see what else you could have done. But yeah, you
yeah,
totally could have just run them all away from us, which would have forced us to come out, which maybe you could have then turned them all around. So I'm not sure though, because they only have a movement of one, which was
yeah.
also very limiting. So I don't know if they could have actually gotten away fast enough from us.
Yeah, that's true. I could have kept maybe some walls in between us, so it would have been hard. You would have had to move really
Hmm.
far, but
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough on this one to figure out exactly the right balance of when to swarm, when to run away. But
Hmm.
Well, and
Maggie,
even in,
what did you think?
I was just thinking about some of the other scenarios. I think that that would have been kind of an interesting, slightly different balance of us moving around a lot more. We didn't have to
yeah,
consider that, so we could just search the entire time. But
Hmm.
if we had to destroy some of these, um,
yeah, that would have got you out there a lot more.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, doubled our playtime, I bet, in terms of searching for the
for
items
sure.
and moving over.
Yeah.
And so another kind of strange mechanic was that when we made a bad roll and we dropped either I kept saying dropped the fiction was that it ran out of ammo, our
Right, right.
shotgun ran out of ammo or whatever. um because we were in a place where we could just pick it back up again,
Hmm.
that gave us a really big advantage. We could just keep
Hmm.
using the weapon over and over and over. So
Yeah,
I almost feel like that's a little broken in if you have a scenario where you can just stay in one location,
yeah,
because we were never without the shotgun, which was awesome for us.
yeah. Although it is kind of interesting because on the other hand, you have to give up your movement, but that was
Hmm.
okay. That was an okay compromise because
Oh
none of
yeah.
you wanted to really leave anyway.
Well, I don't
Hmm.
know. Becky,
Yeah, Becky,
she's got to get to the barn.
yeah, she's got to save her cow.
Yeah.
Well, but also, if you would have overrun this spot, there was one moment when you could have maybe overrun the um
Oh, the
Hmm.
the right
gun shop.
thing. Yeah, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
true. And actually, if I had successfully rolled that building, then you would no longer have the ability to search. That's one of the effects of the card in that building.
Oh, crazy.
So by chance, yeah, I got close, but I didn't actually end up rolling that building.
Yeah, that would have been pretty crazy.
How
Yeah, yeah,
close we were to doom.
Hmm.
yeah. And I think there's a few more of those cards in the deck, so eventually I would have probably ran everybody out.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about randomness, because I think this is a pretty good point to discuss it. It
Hmm.
seems like a lot of what happened in this particular scenario for us was due to random rolls on either side. Like
Hmm.
if your shamblers hadn't shambled for only one each
Yeah,
time, or you had randomly drawn this location that we were on and forced us to leave, or maybe we hadn't been so lucky in our doubles rolls or something like that, then the game could have played out much differently. We could have been
Mhm.
forced to move around. We could have, been overrun in certain areas. Maybe we just didn't find the shotgun at all. It was buried down in the bottom of the deck or something.
Yeah.
Um, I
And I
really
kept
like that.
Yeah, and one thing that was interesting is that I got that card where I got to discard 10 hero cards, which is
Hmm.
great for getting you guys closer to the end, but it also worked out for you because then there were 10 cards in the discard pile for you
Yeah,
Yeah.
to
and we could just search through them, and we found a ton of good stuff.
Yeah. So it was interesting how I feel like the randomness kind of works kind of interestingly in this game, that nobody feels too cheated all the
Yeah,
time.
that's something that I think is kind of rare to get right on that level, because often in board games, when you have something that is random, it can either be mitigated in a good way by maybe combining dice or allowing you to choose dice, or you only roll two, but you get to pick what happens as a result of them. Like, you can kind of plan for it. It's not just see if it fails or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in this game, I think that there's so much randomness, and it's all kind of balanced, that you're just kind of riding this wave of chaos, right? And
Yeah.
you just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
So I think that that's pretty cool. What did you think, Maggie?
Yeah, I think I with as many different cards and things that were out there, it helped me, I guess, feel like there was at least something that I had as kind of a backup, or not all hope was lost, as
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
the door was locked over here.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy couple of cards that I got right off the bat.
Yeah, it's like, no, you can't go in there. No,
Yeah.
seriously, you can't go in there.
And then that one where you guys basically lost all of your turn. So
Oh
there's cards
yeah.
that penalize you for being in the same place, which is kind of interesting
Hmm.
because that does happen in horror movies. People
Yeah.
bicker, or there's a card where the same thing can happen to two players if one of them's a male and female. I can make them lose their turns because they're too busy getting it on. Uh, yeah, it's really funny how there are some cards that penalize that group mentality.
Hmm. Yeah, it was
It's
interesting.
pretty
After you
funny.
played that, I was almost like, is that a common card? Should we maybe not be in the same spot doing this?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they have that on a character card and there's only like one in the deck, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, it's on a character card?
Well, the father has a special ability that he avoids that effect.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I guess that's only half of the effect. I guess the special ability is that he also can't use guns either.
Hmm.
Mm.
But yeah,
So
it's kind of interesting.
that actually seems so. I was considering taking the father, but I didn't realize that this is another thing that I wrote down to talk about. The behavior of hand weapons is really weird.
Yeah.
Like, that seems super counter to all the horror movies where you see somebody like axing a zombie in the head or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Where so if you guys watched the gameplay session, we discovered that a baseball bat does not kill a zombie. It
Yeah.
it fends it off, so you can kind of, I don't know, I guess you like waggle it in its face or something, or you put it on its forehead and keep it at arm's length, but you
Yeah.
can't actually damage a zombie with a baseball bat
Yeah.
or with
Unless
an
you roll
axe,
doubles.
or
If you
right,
roll
unless you roll
doubles, yeah.
doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's like a critical hit, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, what are the chances of? Actually, it's a better chance than a critical hit. So maybe it is, maybe that is all it is. You just have to roll a crit, basically.
Yeah. You have to win and roll doubles.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming that if you're rolling 3 dice, then you could get the high roll with one die, and then if you get doubles on the other, then as long as you get doubles somehow, then you can kill.
Is there anything for rolling triple?
Not that I know of, huh?
Mm. That's nice that it doesn't have to be the dice you win with.
Yeah, yeah,
That's true. Yeah, because at the end there, you were really stacking up the dice, Maggie.
yeah,
That's right.
I think she was rolling 4 for Johnny.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah. That chainsaw is awesome, especially if you have an extra backup gas can.
mhm.
And I think some of the things are cool, like the idea of having ammo is really cool, because how do you represent a gun with limited ammo in a situation like this? Because you do have that concern, but
Mhm.
yet you don't want to have the extra die rolling. You don't want to have like an extra like set of tokens you have to keep track of that are like bullet
That
tokens.
Yeah, that was something I really appreciated about this, was
Yeah,
the not having to keep track of ammo. It's just kind of a random chance. And again, like,
but you're still
normally,
worried about it.
yeah, you're still worried about it, and normally random stuff kind of sucks, but
Yeah,
because there's so much of it, you're just kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's going to happen.
And you have those ammo cards that kind of negate a little bit of that risk
Right.
or worry. Yeah,
So you can still kind of plan
it's
for it.
kind of
Like
interesting.
the one turn where I decided not to use the ammo card, it was a strategic decision
Yeah,
to
that
do
was
so.
interesting
Hmm.
because I
Because
and I had never thought about that strategy before, but it definitely made a lot of sense.
I figured that we were gonna go and like I would actually have to do my quest to go over here and get to the
Yeah,
barn, but it ended up that all the win conditions came to us. So
yeah, and if I kind of had wondered like what I would do if she ran off by herself to run over there.
mhm.
If I would have tried to swarm her and chase after her, I mean, it might have been um, a little risky. It might have been it worked out in your behalf, maybe to split the zombies. But on the other hand, yeah, if she was overrun, I could maybe have gotten another kill. So that would have made
Right,
things interesting.
yeah, definitely. So let me
What do you
think.
guys What
Oh,
do you
go
guys
ahead.
think about the die rolling for movement? The flying frog staple.
Die rolls for movement. Um, I'll let Maggie say what she thinks first.
We didn't get to use it a lot. I think that
Yeah, that's
I don't know,
true.
as I'm thinking about it, the one about, having to kill the spawn points, I'd be really curious to play that game just because
Hmm.
it would use those abilities in a different way that we didn't get to see.
Yeah,
And we
Hmm.
wouldn't be able to just hunker down in a place when we can pick up the gun every moment we wanted.
Hunker
So
down in
yeah,
safety.
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, because there's not even any spawn points in the gun shop, so eventually you would have to
Hmm.
leave and go other places.
Yeah. And well, I guess if I were to comment on the rolling, I like, even though it is a little bit weird having the 9 grid in the center, double the size,
Hmm.
um, I like that ability to just kind of rapid transport across. Uh,
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
yeah. Help make that a little bit easier, although it did help you get over quicker.
Yeah.
yeah. It definitely
Personally,
helps you keep the heat on.
Hmm.
yeah. Personally, I would prefer the movement to be 3 plus or minus 1. Like you roll the d6, and if you get 1 or 2, then it's one. Then it's what I guess like you get a 2 movement. Like 3 or 4, you get a 4 movement, and then
Oh,
5 or 6,
right.
you get a 5 movement, rather than a full range of 1 to 6. Because at least then you can kind of plan your turn. You'll be like, oh well, I couldn't quite make it, but I'll make it next turn. Because there is the chance that you with die rolls for movement, you roll 1 like 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
I mean, it will happen to someone eventually, and they'll just be like, "Well, the dice screwed me," you
yeah.
know.
And if you have no range weapon, you're out in the middle of the
Right,
open.
which is the other big thing. You can't actually kill the zombies that are coming after you because of that weird like hand combat thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, so if you on the very first shot you make an unlucky roll, and you're out of ammo, so your ranged weapon's gone, and then what do? You just die? Like
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like that balancing that out a little bit might be good. But at the same time, this game was so fast that it could also just be that you can play it more times. You can be like, okay, well, that game, we just got wrecked almost immediately.
yeah, yeah.
So I feel like I was going to say this at the very beginning, actually, Game Face, when you mentioned that this game has a special place for you.
Hmm.
This is one of the first games that Gilly and I played together.
Oh, cool.
It was right after we played Quest. Is it Race for the
Oh,
Galaxy?
Race for
Race
the
for the
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
played Race for the Galaxy. That was the first one, and then we played this one second, and she absolutely just wrecked me. I was playing the heroes, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
but I can't remember if it was bad dice rolls or what. But yeah, I feel like balancing that out would probably help because the thing is like it's not a board game isn't quite um like a mobile game, where you
hmm
can just like it's 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, and you can just like, well, that sucked. I'll just play another one.
yeah,
So you still do have some pretty significant time investment. So maybe tweaking that in house rules or something like that would be interesting to try.
yeah,
But I still don't think it's that bad.
yeah. This scenario is kind of scary too. The idea of losing heroes, I think that can happen really quickly. You could end up losing someone. Each hero has
Hmm.
at most like maybe 3 hit points, and
That is
some of
pretty
them have
unusual.
2. And then of course I have that card that can turn you into a zombie even faster.
I
So
thought
it's
that was pretty weird when I was first looking at the characters
mhm.
because it's you go from one wound to dead immediately. And
Yeah.
if you get caught by yourself, that's actually why I didn't go out by myself with Becky. I mean, because even though she has a lot of health as far as this game goes, you know, three zombies show up and I roll badly and then she's dead.
Yeah.
So
And she's really good with other people because she can only heal others.
yeah,
So having her by herself is not a good
can't
idea
can't
either.
give first aid to herself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do think that the self healing though is really strong on these two.
Yeah, for the youths.
Definitely
The youths.
the
Yep.
youths, the
Youths.
youngins.
So I guess we could also talk about the idea of the gender roles because we always kind of talk about that with since this
Yeah,
is a Misscliks sponsored uh, channel or show, I guess. We
definitely.
always try to talk about what kinds of things come up with that are sort of gender issues, if there's any kind of exploitative things or things that are just kind of weird. What do you think, Maggie, as far as like the different roles that are in the game?
For the different roles. Well,
As far as like
Hmm.
any gender things that you notice that are kind of
yeah,
like, oh, that's kind of weird, but
it didn't stop me from picking her, but Sally,
sweetheart.
Sally here's a lightweight.
Oh yeah,
Can't handle any gun smaller than or larger than one she can fit in her
right.
little tiny little hands.
Hmm.
Um, and only Becky was the only lady to have more than one hit point that she could carry.
Yeah.
Oh right, right.
So
Whereas there are several male characters that have more hit points.
yeah,
Hmm.
It's interesting, like it's almost like they decided though that maybe the younger players, like I don't know if they decided gender wise, but maybe more
On age.
all youthful players have only 2 hit points and all older players have 3.
Right.
hmm.
But I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of interesting.
Yeah.
It definitely seems that way.
Hmm.
But I think that they could have, with how simple this game is, like not to say like it's not well designed, but just how I guess kind of straightforward each of the characters seems. There's a couple of special things that they do and 2 or 3 hit points. I feel like they could have added more variety in here,
Hmm.
to maybe flesh out some more. I don't know, just some more roles. And I get that they were going for the kind of
Cheesy horror
cheesy
types.
horror movie type aspect to it, but I feel like they went like halfway into it, right? Like
Hmm.
they got halfway there and they were like, well, we don't want to be too over the top, and then kind of
Yeah.
stopped. So what you're left with in that sense is a bunch of stereotypes, and they're not particularly progressive.
Yeah, I think I could see that too. Is if you're going to emulate a style of art that is typically stereotypical,
Hmm.
how do you decide what stereotypes to keep or what stereotypes to, get rid of and make a little more progressive? It seems like they kind of
Hmm.
made more of a conservative choice as far as the types.
Right.
Although, I mean, you could make sure you could make Becky a doctor. There could be and actually in the expansion there are some, like there's an FBI agent who is a female um, African American character, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, yeah, so it seems like maybe they tried to remedy that as they had
Hmm.
more expansions. But
Yeah, they probably noticed it. That this is, I mean, the cast is a little whitewashed for the base game.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely all white people for sure.
But it's they also didn't do the thing that I we definitely have. I guess we talk about a lot when there's character roles in the games that we play. But on the flip side, there's not the alternate gender, which
Oh
would be
yeah,
cool, and they really could just do the exact same character, just the other gender,
yeah, that's
and
true.
even that would have been pretty awesome to see. But
Yeah, that's true. But and I wonder if maybe some of that was limited because of the because they did do that with Shadows of Brimstone, that maybe
mhm.
they were limited since they had to actually hire real actors to do the photo shoots.
Oh right, yeah.
So that's a cost concern. I don't
Hmm.
know if that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we double their cast because of their
Yeah,
art style, essentially.
yeah,
So
that's kind of interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
but it was. I could see what they were getting at though, so
Hmm.
I'll give them a pass on this.
What do you think, Maggie? Do you think anything gender-wise you kind of noticed?
I was just noticing that Johnny's got a similar posture to all the ladies, so I liked that he's got the movie look, um,
Yeah,
slanted to the side.
yeah, the little pose.
They did get they nailed the like high school, kind of attitude, I guess.
And even I don't know if my picture is fuzzy, but he's even got kind of a low cut shirt there. You can see under the jacket.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
gotta gotta show off your abs, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some interesting cards too, like the fact that the it could be the end of our life, or it could be the end of the world, or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah.
It has to be a male and female, but I guess those are kind of little nitpicky things
Hmm.
um, that might not really be. I mean, if you're going to do a B movie, you don't really have a lot of progressive relationships or anything
Yeah,
like that. So
right.
it's
Well,
not usually the.
at the same time though, I think one of the things that game designers you know, game designers both tabletop and in video games are realizing is that the more options that they give their players, the more interesting and like compelling the game is itself. Just because
Hmm.
what we like to do is form our own stories when we're playing these games, and so the unnecessary restriction that it's a male and female pair for this could be our last night on Earth. Like I can kind of see where they were coming from because they're like
Yeah.
trying to play at something, but at the same
Hmm.
time, you don't really need to do that. We get it, guys. We
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Like we know what's happening, so
Yeah.
you don't really have to throw that in there.
Yeah. It is kind of funny, like when you see the card, like if it's kind of a funny surprise. It's like, oh yeah, there is usually some kind of cheesy love story in the middle of all of it.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of funny, but yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think I've gone through all my notes. Have you guys? Was there anything else that you wanted to say? I know Game Face, you wanted to talk a little bit about maybe comparing this to Shadows of Brimstone.
Yeah, I guess the big thing to me, it seemed like there were things that they took from all that kind of run through all of their games, like the roll for movement, that seems to me like doesn't work as well in that game
Hmm.
as it does here. And then there's randomness and lots of the equipment is much more streamlined and um, not as detailed. But of course, it seems like to me they were going for with Shadows of Brimstone more of a role playing experience, like you're basically playing D&D in the Old West,
Right.
except no dungeon master, like you were kind of talking about last time, right? It's like creating an AI DM.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing about movement, I just realized this, is that movement is kind of inverted in this game. Instead of there being like you being enclosed inside of an area and you're moving throughout these tunnels
Hmm.
that are like your movement is extremely restricted, in this it feels like your movement is extremely open.
Right,
And
that's
then you're
true.
just trying to there's certain places that you can only move through with your heroes, like the you can only move through into a building through the doors. But
Right.
in this, I feel like the movement being a lot more free makes that work a lot better than in Shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, and everything, I think they kind of went for, since this was their first game, making everything as simple as possible rather than complicated, because you could see where they could make things complicated, like the ammunition or the
Hmm.
guns. The fighting is pretty simple, although there still is a lot of die rolling.
There's so much dice rolling.
Yeah, yeah, you're always rolling dice,
Well,
and it's weird that you have to. Oh, go ahead.
or even as something as simple as the walls, had that been not something that we could have shot through, or you had to
Right.
like so you're in the same side of
Hmm.
it. I
Or
think
like
Yeah.
that
figure out line of sight. Imagine if they added line of sight to this thing.
Yeah. That would
Yeah.
have been so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the spawning rules are kind of more interesting. I'm surprised they didn't use something like that in Shadows with the spawn points. That's kind
I
of a
thought
cool
those were
idea, I
cool.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool when you think about, okay, yeah, the morgue would be a place where the dead would kind of be respawning.
Yeah.
And then
And
in the,
it
yeah,
was neat that it started out with you know, well, with zombies in the morgue and in the hospital, and the first thing that the nurse has to do is run. Because
yeah,
it's like that's pretty movie-ish, right?
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
this is where the sickness is starting, so I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. But but instead of using that, they have this weird placement system with the monsters, and then there's bottlenecking. Again, problems with the fact that you're in a tunnel.
Right. Yeah, in
That's
Shadows
very
there's
narrow.
bottlenecking.
Yeah.
Right.
So it is really interesting to see kind of where they are now. Although they released 3 games that have a similar kind of feel. There's this game, there's the Alien Invasion game,
Hmm.
which is kind of interesting. Although I don't know that I like the hero characters in the Alien Invasion game are all circus performers, which is really weird.
What?
How did they
Yeah,
do that?
yeah, it's very
What?
strange. So yeah, apparently the aliens invade us during a circus, like a small town that has a circus in town, and the circus
Why
heroes are
not?
the only ones that could stop it. Yeah, pretty ridiculous. So that one stretched it quite a bit. And then they had one that they released, which was kind of a global world-spanning treasure hunt, kind of like Indiana Jones.
Hmm.
And that one is not compatible that I know of with these two, the alien invasion and this zombie invasion. And then they did Shadows. So to me, I feel like those other games, well, besides A Touch of Evil, those games I could see how they were kind of wanting to try something new, but to me, this game works really well in its simplicity and because it is so fast. If Shadows had been a fast game or maybe had worked out a little bit less die rolling than and worked out a lot of the weird kinks, then it might have been a superior game to this. But I think this kind of wins out just because of the speed and
Hmm.
it seems everything's a little more balanced.
Definitely. I think yeah, I think you nailed it. And but overall, I would say I would play this game again. I think it's really good.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a lot of fun.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that just about does it for our review. And unless there's anything else that you want to say, I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Maggie. It's been a pleasure having you on to play some games with us.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
And absolutely. And as always, we play games here every Friday, except not next Friday
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
5 p.m. Pacific, because next Friday we will be at BlizzCon watching
Yeah.
GillyCast. So make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be twitch.tv/BlizzHeroes for her casting. But every week we're here on the Misscliks channel, which is twitch.tv/Misscliks if you're watching this on YouTube. All right. And with that, I think, Maggie, would you like to do the honors and flip the table?
Cool.
See you guys next week.
Later.